OBX wave report, and I am happy to say that I just got out of the water not too long ago for a fun surf session here in the Outer Banks over at Jeanette's Pier. Right now, the local monitor for swell is saying the waves are in the range of about 7 feet, and I did a paddle out. It's right at the edge of my ability, and I got hit on the head by like a set of six, seven, maybe eight waves. It was totally epic. It was a huge fun taking the beat down. The Lost Rocket performs very admirably as far as a duck diver goes. There was only one wave where I ditched the board and dove under it, but nonetheless, I was unable to make it out because it was just continuous. And by about the seventh or eighth wave, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna push it. I almost made it to the like lineup, but didn't quite. Just gonna have to work on my paddle out speed a little bit more. But nonetheless, yeah, big waves, big, thick, 4 to 6, 4 to 7 foot waves breaking there at Jeanette's Pier right now. Starting to get a little bit calmer. I think that the paddle out intensity is gonna drop off a little bit through the course of the day, and then by early morning tomorrow, we'll probably have 3 to 4, 3 to 5 foot waves, which should be nice and fun. For those of us who don't have the crazy paddle out skills, nonetheless, I'm feeling a lot more confident. I don't think I would have tried that even a couple of months ago. I did do a paddle out back in the wintertime with like that when the waves were like in the range of 4 to 7 feet, but I didn't even make it out close to the lineup. I just got hit by one of these big cold waves, and then I just was like, eh, turning around, going back in. So with this one, it was just like there was a surfer out there, and he was maybe about 30 feet away from me. I was paddling really hard, and then this huge axe just kind of came in and pushed me back into the break zone, and then I just got the beat down. But it was, I don't know, sometimes it's just fun to get the beat down. I don't know about you guys, but when you're out there at the edge of your ability and you're kind of testing your limits, it's just like standing on a live wire. It feels so great. And I don't know, I think it was Nathan Florence who recently said fortune favors the fearless, and I'm not so crazy as to go out into the, nor'easter surf at this point here in the Outer Banks, because I mean the big, heavy, thick waves hit those sandbars hard, and you get that draw across the sandbar, and you can just get sucked into that beat zone. But yeah, yeah, it's fun to test your potential. Okay, so let's get into the wave report today. We've got 4 to 8 foot waves breaking across the Outer Banks. It's starting to clean up. We got beautiful, clear blue skies, golden sunlight streaming down. The water is gorgeous. The temperatures feel warm in my um, 2 3 millimeter wetsuit with gloves, hood, and booties. I probably didn't even need the hood today. Maybe didn't even need the gloves, but I've just gotten in the habit of wearing it all. Might start taking off some of the pieces of the wetsuit. Just gorgeous conditions today, likely gorgeous conditions tomorrow, and fun conditions on Thursday as well. And then as we get into the weekend, looks like things are going to start to get flat. We do have small craft advisories still up for most of the Outer Banks, and it's just the remnant of this nor'easter with these larger waves. But things are starting to calm down out there. Things are starting to get glassy. It's just really fun and nice. Um, in the wind model right now, you can see this high pressure center circulating right over us. We've got light and gentle winds and those clear skies in association with the high. Stronger winds further to the south of us, but not affecting us. The nor'easter that hit us over the weekend for a 3 to 4 day spate with really strong northeast winds is heading out offshore right now. You can see it in this swirl right now. And over the Gulf of Mexico, we got some disturbed weather starting to kick up. Looking at the geocolor composite, you see that disturbed weather over the Gulf, and way out here you see the nor'easter with we've got scuts of clouds over the ocean, but nothing too crazy, and you can just see that clear sky popping as you look down through the satellite imagery. Looking at the enhanced cloud tops, you can see the nor'easter just south of Newfoundland heading off toward um, the Maritimes south of Iceland and west of England. And you can see the swirl of disturbed weather over the Gulf. That's going to start to affect our weather as we head on in toward the weekend. All right, getting down to the local wave monitors, I'm going to provide you guys with some of the local observations. And we're going to start at Jeanette's Pier. I did get out to Jeanette's Pier today. Didn't make it to the lineup because of that heavy surf hitting me on the head, but there were a few other surfers out there, a bit more experienced. I think we had, I think I saw Bo out there, one of the professional surfers, and yeah, he was out there in the lineup practicing his stuff. So, and then there were a couple other advanced surfers out there as well. I didn't see a lot of waves being caught. The waves looked a little bit tricky, but they're like up on the north side of the pier. There was a nice right-hand turn. It was just forming up really well. Nice pocket. So if you can get yourself into the right spot on the north side of the pier, right-hand turn's looking really good right now with those 4 to 6 foot waves, maybe in the range of 7 foot. Like I'm getting kind of conflicting readings from the different wave monitors. The pier itself is showing 7 foot waves. The wave monitors themselves showing 4 to 6. So I guess I'm going to say 4 to 7 foot. They're big, big and thick. Primary swell coming in out of the east. That is a probably about a 6 foot swell. That's a 10-second period. Winds negligible, 4 miles per hour out of the west northwest as offshore, but 4 miles per hour. That's practically nothing. Um, Air temperature 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Most of the weather services right now saying air temperatures in the 50s. Not the case. The actual air temperature down there is about 60 degrees. Ocean water temperatures in the range of about 54. Felt warmer than that to me. Weather conditions sunny, light wind, and high in the lower 60s. All right, so heading south past Oregon Inlet to S-turns, we also have 4 to 6 foot waves, possibly some bigger swells. Rodanth or Rodanth He, similar conditions with 4 to 6 foot waves as well. And then Avon right now, waves are in the range of 4 to 7 feet with an 11-second primary swell coming out of the east. That is a 6 foot swell according to the wave monitors. Winds out of the north-northwest at 7 miles per hour. That is an offshore flow. And air temperatures a little bit cooler down there with the ocean influence, 58 degrees. Ocean water temperature 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunny today with a high near 60. And then for our last observation, we're going to go down to Buxton, where Buxton is big and heavy at 7 to 8 feet. Primary swell coming in at 11 seconds. That is a 6 foot swell coming in out of the east. Winds out of the north at 6 miles per hour. That is a cross shore flow with a bit of an offshore component. Air temperature is also 58 degrees. Ocean water temperature is warmer at 63. And once again, sunny with highs in the lower 60s today with a beautiful day here across the Outer Banks. Gorgeous waves, big waves, beautiful day. Couldn't ask for more. All right, so let's get into some climate observations and some longer range forecasts. And right now, the globe is rather warmer than normal at 0.41 degrees Celsius above the 1981 to 2010 reference period. That is already a warmer than normal reference period, so it's warmer than normal on top of warmer than normal. Both the poles showing cooler than normal conditions, but the middle latitudes really heating up with much warmer than normal conditions over much of North America, large swaths of Europe and Asia, most of South America, much of Australia, and then just very broad ocean zones. It's also worth noting that the tropics are starting to heat up, particularly in the eastern equatorial Pacific, with the onset of what looks like an El Nino trend or a trend toward El Nino. All right, looking at, I did want to show you, okay, I want to show you here Greenland is still experiencing much warmer than normal temperatures, particularly for the west coast of Greenland and the northern regions. And we do have some locations right now that are above freezing. And that is very rare for this time of year. We've got this west slope of the ice sheet here that's showing above freezing temperatures. And so possible melt conditions on parts of the glacier there in Greenland in early April, which is not common and certainly a concern, with temperatures in the range of 30 to 35 degrees Fahrenheit above normal in some locations. All right, let's get down to the lower 48 and the longer term outlook for temperature and precipitation. And for the US East, it is expected to still remain above normal. We've had above normal conditions across the US Southeast, particularly for much of the month of April so far. And these conditions are expected to remain in place for the US East, although for the central US, cooler than normal conditions expected with what appears to be a trough developing over parts of the central US. And then out west, we've got above normal temperatures for parts of the desert Southwest and below normal temperatures expected for the coastal regions. And looking at the central US, we have below normal precipitation and above normal precipitation expected for the coasts. Looking at the quantitative precipitation forecast, we get an idea of what areas are going to be stormy over the next 7 days based on the model outlooks. And it looks like the Gulf region of the southeast is expected to see above normal precipitation, storminess, and then the Pacific Northwest, with much of the rest of the U.S. Remaining either normal or below normal. Southwest looking pretty dry over the next 7 days, according to the model summaries. Looking at the convective outlooks, we don't expect any major severe weather risks over the next 3 days, which is good news considering we've had such a spate of severe weather this spring thus far. So let's hope that remains in place, although in the 4 to 8 day outlook, there are some potential, looks like some potential risks by day 4, which is, let's see, today is Tuesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So around Friday and Saturday, possible risks of severe weather for parts of the central US. We'll just have to keep a weather eye on that. Okay, getting into the global forecast system model, I do want to show you some of the tendency for storm development here for the East Coast. And right now for today, we've got a high pressure system over the Outer Banks. Conditions are beautiful. These conditions are expected to remain in place over the next couple of days as the high is expected to linger through Wednesday and into Thursday. But as we get late into Thursday and then into Friday on the backside of the high pressure system, we start to see a warm front moving up from the Gulf of Mexico toward the US Southeast. And so we might start to get some storminess in the Carolinas by late Friday, early Saturday. Nothing too major, but an area of disturbed weather on the backside of that high. Also very warm temperatures likely this weekend as well. And then as we get into Sunday, another front starts to form in the central US. The front strings down over the Appalachians as we get into Monday, tailing down into the Gulf with what looks like some pretty severe weather over the Gulf of Mexico. And then the front moving out across the Outer Banks on Monday with likely cooler conditions. On the backside of that front with some northwesterly winds, and then a high pressure system building in through the US southeast, and another storm developing behind the high and moving on in through the southeast as we get into late next week. And I did want to show you this because late next week, by not this coming Friday, but next Friday, Friday, April 21st, it looks like we have another potential for a nor'easter. Of course, this is grain of salt period. We are way out, 10, 11 days out in the model summary here. So we can definitely say that this is not a high likelihood yet, but we will keep an eye on it because this looks like a pretty strong nor'easter that could develop on Friday, April the 21st, according to the models. And what's really interesting about this one is we've got a low pressure system that develops off of Hatteras in the model, and then that thing goes retrograde down the US East Coast. So it looks like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. And then by the time we get into Monday, the retrograde low heads down south and east toward the Caribbean, which is an interesting direction of travel for a low pressure system off the US East Coast for this time of year or any. If this does develop, could be a major storm event for the US East Coast. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on things. All right, and now let's get down to the wave forecast. The last thing we do is always a wave forecast, and we're going to do a wave forecast today. Right now, waves are in the range of, we'll say, 5 to 7 feet in the near offshore environment. And these waves will steadily fall down as the storm influence heads out. Beautiful waves today, and then into tomorrow, 3.5 to 5, we'll say 5 foot waves in the near offshore environment tomorrow. Another beautiful swell coming in directly from the east. Great waves tomorrow as well. And then into Wednesday, smaller but still nice looking waves in the range of 2 to 3 feet, likely directly translating to the coastline in the 2 to 3 foot range. So fun waves over the next 3 days. Big and burly today, but becoming more calm and glassy as we go through later today, into tomorrow, and then into Thursday. And then by Friday, it's looking like Lake Atlantic out there, guys, with 1.5 to 1.8 foot surf. You might find a couple of decent breaks on Friday in the 1 to 2 foot range, particularly Buxton or the breaks that really line up. And then I think, can we get into Saturday? Yep. And then into Saturday, we get a southerly wind with a swell orients from the south. Um, Offshore swell in the range of 3 to 4 feet. We'll have to see how those swells line up on Saturday. It's more likely that the south-facing beaches are going to get the better swell, and then areas like Buxton getting the wraparound there on Saturday. Nonetheless, very warm conditions on Saturday sound pretty appealing, although we might get an afternoon thunderstorm or shower here in the Outer Banks. All right, so thanks for joining me for this session of the OBX Wave Report. I'm feeling really happy right now after my beatdown session. I will see if I can get you guys some footage of me taking some axes on the head in my pal out over at Jeanette's Pier today. But right now I'm heading off to go do the workout thing with my gorgeous wife, the beautiful turquoise ocean goddess. So thank you for joining me for this session of the OBX Wave Report. And as I always do, I'm going to ask you guys to please do everything you can to help speed the transition to clean energy and away from fossil fuel burning. This is going to help protect our coastlines from the impacts of sea level rise, more intense storms, and the nasty thing that is ocean acidification and all the other pollution effects that come from fossil fuel burning. Clean energy being wind, water, solar, electric vehicles, and the electrolyzers, which will allow us to mass produce green hydrogen. We can do it, guys. Let's just have confidence. Let's not take the beat down from the fossil fuels. Not as fun as taking the beat down from some nice waves here in the Outer Banks. So thanks for joining me once again, and I will be back with you guys shortly.